Hi everyone, today we're going to make sense of the new PRS SE 2025 guitars. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Ministry of Guitar. It's a wonderful rainy morning here in Singapore, so I've actually just left everything open. You can actually see the rain right behind me. That's my living room and my uh, terrace, veranda, patio just outside, and maybe you can even hear the rain a little bit. Anyways, let's get to the guitars and let's get to, some very exciting news. I may have released or I will be releasing a video on what this really means for the guitar industry in general. Um, as I have said, or I may say in that video, the guitar industry is in a new era where basically the overseas guitars or the lower cost manufactured guitars become the new norm for high quality instruments. And then the made in USA guitars or the traditional high quality instruments become luxury items, which are functionally practically identical to these lower cost items. But these lower cost items, like the PRS SE guitars, are now hitting pretty reasonably high price points, like say the $2,000 price point that the Chleo is hitting. So I may have already mentioned that in the other video. Let's talk about the range. We'll talk about the new guitars. We'll talk about them in particular, and then we'll look at the overall range just to see how everything is going. So yeah, let's get started. Okay. This is the new range. So let's talk about the new range. Let's talk about first the SE Chleo. And to talk about the SE Chleo, I have to, in fact, what I will be doing is I'll be bringing out guitars from my core guitar collection. And these are not going to be exact 1:1 to the SEs, and I don't have access to the SEs just yet because I live in Singapore. The guitars take longer to get here, and for some reason, the local retailer thinks of me more as a customer, someone to sell their guitars to, which I do. I have bought a lot of guitars from them, probably more than anyone else in the last 20 years. But perhaps they're a little short-sighted in understanding that, me not charging any money and just featuring the guitars, the SE guitars, may help them sell a few more guitars, but I don't care. I'm not doing this for commercial stuff anyway. Let's get into my first guitar. When I saw the PRS Chleo for the first time, I was reminded of another guitar. I was reminded of a guitar that could make 13 sounds and had a tremolo, had an HSH layout, and was rather unusually constructed. So this is a guitar that we'll have on my lap as we talk about the PRS SE Chleo. This is the PRS 513, which has 13 sounds, HSH, HSH, tongue twister, tremolo, and unusual construction. Just look at the back. It's not a normal PRS construction. Now, the SE Chleo is basically the core version, the SE version of the core Chleo. And what makes it special, if you open it up, is the following. It has a very thin body. It has a Floyd Rose. It has 13 sounds. It has essentially Fishman fluences, which is very rare on a PRS. Only other PRS has Fishman fluences. I can't think of any other. I have one with Fishman fluences, actually. I have a PRS SE Torero. In fact, a Floyd Rose and Fishman fluences. So maybe I have two guitars here that are reminiscent of the new Chleo. So, but anyways, this guitar is for the lead guitarists among us, which I am not. I thought I was a lead guitarist, but I'm a little bit more than that, I think. The good thing with SE Chleo, what I really like is that it's really high quality and spec. When I look at it, this does not look like a SE guitar. It has an ebony fretboard. It has very nice tops, which are veneers, because the difference between a core guitar and a SE guitar is usually the core guitars will have a solid top. This will be a veneer, so that's like a sticker. And yeah, and it has a couple of details that make it less expensive to make than a normal core guitar. The core guitar had all of these, the input jack, everything. It was integrated into the maple. Here, this is also pretty well done, because if you see Phil McKnight's video, you will see that there are no screws over here for the input jack, no screws over here for the switch housing. It's kind of inserted from the back of the guitar. And it still has, just showing you the back of the guitar where these are inserted from, below this. And it still has all those beautiful inlays. It has a Floyd Rose 1000, which I like. I think Phil McKnight mentioned it as well. Floyd Rose 1000 is a very solid choice. Yeah, and dragon inlays. What's there not to like? Honestly, some people may say that $2,000 is a lot for a made in Indonesia guitar. I say three things. One, show me another guitar of this quality and spec for $2,000. I don't think you'll find one. Number two, the dollar isn't exactly what it used to be 12 months ago. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but due to multiple reasons that we don't need to get into here, the dollar has essentially fallen versus the basket of currencies over the last 12 months. So $2,000 is not what $2,000 was 12 months ago. And more to that point, $2,000 today is not what $2,000 was 15 years ago due to crazy inflation that we have seen recently in the last 5 years or so. So while $2,000 sounds psychologically troubling, I think it's absolutely, I would call this, in fact, I would stick my head out and call this a great value guitar. So anyways, going back to the features, what I mentioned, Floyd was Southern Tremolo in black or black chrome. Black chrome is a very cool color. I have it on some of my PRS private stocks. So I'd like to see that because it usually doesn't come on the core models. PRS design tuners, Fishman Fluence, Hermanli pickups. I have to try them out. And of course, it has the specific neck profile specific to Hermanli. Great guitar. The second guitar, what I want to tell you, is something that people have been asking for years on the core lineup, and is here on the SE lineup before the core. What I have here is a very rare beast. It's a custom 24, but it's a little bit different. Beyond the color that was specified by a crazy Japanese dealer, it's called Blueberry Burst. So ignore the color. This is a custom 24, but it has one extra string. Now, I wish this video was about there being an extra string on a custom 24 and it being announced, but that's not what it's about. This guitar has something else. It doesn't have a tremolo. Look closely. That's not a tremolo. That's Stoptail. This is a hardtail or Stoptail custom 24. Ignore the 7 string for now. It did exist in the core lineup many years ago. Now, if you want a custom 24 with a Stoptail, not a tremolo, you have 3 options. You can buy a custom 24 Mark Holcomb, which is a great guitar, but it's not for everybody. It's an artist guitar. You can specify the custom 24 of your dreams in private stock, but that's going to cost you $10,000 to $15,000. Or, guess what? You can buy a PRS SE. And I opened the wrong guitar. You can buy a PRS SE CE24 Standard Stoptail. So let's talk about this. What makes a CE24 different from custom 24? What makes Stoptail different from tremolo? CE24 essentially just means it's a bolt-on neck, which you can hopefully see in one of the photos, and you can't see it in one of the photos. Interesting. PRS, maybe you want to include it, or maybe I'm missing it somewhere. Nope. It's a bolt-on neck, which basically means the neck, instead of being a set neck like this one, you have a screws, which you can kind of see over here, the maple screwed on the back of the mahogany guitar. It has a bolt-on. Now this is a it has a Stoptail. This is very interesting because this is the same Stoptail, not as a traditional, metal guitar Stoptail where you would have all of the individually adjustables. This is almost like a hip shot style. This is the more expensive and, in my opinion, much better. Maybe not more expensive, but in my opinion, much better because I have all of them to try it out. So I think I can tell you with some authority that these Stoptails, which is originally the Paul's guitar Stoptail, originally came out on private stock on a guitar called the PRS Signature Limited on private stock. Then it made its way to core on Paul's guitar. Then it made its way to SE when they launched the Paul's guitar SE a few years ago. Now you have this on a custom 24. This is a brilliant bridge. The sustain and the sound that you get from this, because this is solid aluminum, so it's light. I think it's aluminum. But it has this little nickel drops so that the strings actually touch nickel. And whatever it might be, I don't know the science behind it, but excuse me, the guitar just resonates. It just sounds very good. I have it. Do I have one out that I can show you? Yes, I do. This guitar is called a McCarty, actually Ted McCarty. It doesn't have a normal PRS headstock. DC 245. This is like a PRS shaped guitar, but with a Les Paul scale length of 24.5 inches. Les Paul is 24.75. Now look at that. That's the bridge. Same thing. This is a very expensive guitar when it was new. Even now, these aren't that easy to find. This gives great sustain, gives great resonance. I may have said that a few times. It has one disadvantage, that you cannot down tune it all the way. Maybe you can do drop D, you can definitely do D standard, you can do E flat standard, maybe you can do drop drop C sharp, which is drop D on E flat. And if you're feeling particularly brave and you don't really care too much about intonation, you may do drop C. That's about it. Don't go any further than that. It's pre-intonated for like E or E flat, and the pre-intonation is just incredible. And you know, when I first saw this bridge, I was very skeptical of it because I was like, I don't want the fuss of having a pre-intonated bridge and somehow it doesn't work. But PRS's guitars are built with such precision that it always works. Doesn't matter what string gauge I use, as long as, again, you don't go into too heavy strings. I never do very heavy strings. I do either 9s or 10s, mostly 10s, really. It just works. So this is exciting news. Now, who is this guitar for? You may think that, hey, you're giving a 24 fret guitar, but you're giving this, you're giving this bridge, and the 24 fret player is a metal player, is a rock player. They don't want this kind of a bridge. I think it's actually a very good choice, because one thing that people don't realize is that the point of a 24 fret guitar isn't necessarily to play metal. The point of a 24 fret guitar, in my opinion, even if you don't use the 24th fret, is access. Because what happens is, now if I just look at this guitar, it's a 22 fret guitar. So the 12th fret is here. And if I'm playing anything below, like if I want to play the Slash November Rain thingy, which is around here, and Slash plays it on Les Paul, which is incredible. But even on a guitar with, with double cut rather than single cut, it's still a bit tricky. On a custom 24, everything gets shifted up 2 frets. So the 22nd fret would be, instead of being all the way here, it would be further up. So then it's where the 19th fret or something is here. So it's very easy to play. And what I have found is that I like 24 fret guitars, which is why I have a 24 fret single cut as well, because it just makes lead guitar playing so much easier. Now you could say, why don't you get something like a Herman Lee or an Ibanez, which is even better for access? I don't like thin guitars. I don't like insignificant guitars. I like reasonably chunky guitars. So 24 fret guitar works out really well. So I would say this guitar is great for the player who wants a guitar that's very easy to play leads on, as simple as that, at a very good price point. Right? And it doesn't mean that you have to go all the way to the Herman Lee and do crazy leads. This is a whole different level of leads. This is like normal lead guitar that you might do, just normal rock or blues or whatever. It's great for that. And let's check out the pickups it has. Pickups, in my opinion, yeah, these are the weak points. PRS SE pickups, maybe they have improved it. I've tried a couple of them in the shop that hasn't given me any guitars to put on this channel yet, but I haven't been impressed, and I've never been impressed with PRS SE 8515S pickups. They just don't cut it for me. That's the weak point. It's a small criticism because it's an easy one to change, but it just changes the mechanics of, or rather the economics of buying this guitar. But that's okay. I mean, the pickups are decent enough. You really have to be a little bit of a snob like me who has heard so many different pickups to even tell a difference. So most people will be fine. Okay, let's go to the next guitar. This is a good one. This is a no-nonsense guitar. This is the PRS DGT SE. This guitar was relaunched previously, but this is like new colors, and this is the DGT Standard, which means it doesn't have the maple top. It's just a plain mahogany. This, guys, if you see a person turn up with this guitar, it's like the ultimate understated guitar, which is that it's a guitar that can really do everything. It doesn't need all the complications of the 513. And wait, I should also probably get its counterpart. Okay, this is my DGT. This is 2018. This is in charcoal, purple burst. So it's charcoal with purple burst outside. And what's the point of a DGT, which is the same for this, which is the same as that? The difference, the thing is, it has 2 volume controls, a bridge control, a master tone control, coil splits, and a tremolo on what is essentially a PRS McCarty, which is basically 22 fret PRS with a thicker body. And the McCarty is inspired by a Les Paul. The other thing that is different on this is the neck has a very particular shape. It's thinner than you might expect. Thinner as in not thin like thin depth, but thin in terms of the width. It's less wide, and it has very large frets. Very interesting combination of features, because what this does is you get very classic tones, because the pickups on these are, I would say, they are very, very crisp pickups. They're very, very articulate pickups, and they split, so they get even more articulate. So it's almost like you get the sounds of a very good Les Paul, yet you kind of get sounds of a good Fender-ish single coilish, not exactly Strat because nothing sounds like a Strat, but basically any tone that you would practically think of needing, you'll get it because it has the depth of body to kind of do the humbucker thing, and because of just maybe just the way the pickups are designed and maybe how the neck feels because it's a very thin neck, thin, less wide, not less deep. Uh, it can kind of makes Fender players feel good as well. It's a strange thing. It just kind of works. So the DGT is the no nonsense studio or even gig players kind of guitar. If somebody turns up with this, I know that they are pretty serious about what they're doing and they're probably going to play really well. Whether it be this core DGT or even a SE DGT, because it's kind of the guitar for the thinking man musician. It just kind of works, which is kind of who David Grissom, who the model, which is model. That's what it is. So as you can see, I like this guitar. I particularly like this guitar. You might have seen these videos of this guitar on my channel. I've done a lot with it and done something else with it, brought it back to norms, to standard. I've done a lot with this guitar. So let's talk about this. I think it was a sojourn into my DGT. What's new? Nothing is new. It's the same as a normal DGT, which is to say it has the tremolo, it has the DGT specific pickups, it has the large frets, which should be somewhere here. It should have the DGT neck shape, which again, maybe I'm not reading it properly, but there we go. Neck shape DGT. Main thing is it's an all mahogany body. Some will say it will be less bright than the normal DGT, but you know what? The normal SE DGT is all mahogany anyway. The maple is just a small veneer, so it won't make much of a difference. I like the colors. When I see that cherry color, it's called cherry, or what's it called? Vintage cherry. Yes, I think of this as if I am a 18-year-old who's just learned guitar, or rather if I meet an 18-year-old who's just learned guitar and they want to get something decent for themselves and they want something that can last them through university and can be a perfectly good guitar forever even, and they should do everything. They shouldn't feel that there's a functional need to get something else, and they don't want to spend that much money. They don't have the money for something like this, obviously. I'd say, man, vintage cherry DGT, just can't go wrong. Just can't go wrong. Okay. Next guitar, SE Hollowbody Piezo. Now, what is well, it's not really the Hollowbody Piezo. It is essentially, if I'm not mistaken, they have changed the construction of the hollow bodies. We have updated the construction method of the PRS Hollowbody models. Okay, how do I make sense of this? Short answer, it's more like a core Hollowbody. And do I have a core Hollowbody to show you? I have 3, but they're all inside their cases, so sorry. Let me just tell you what this means for you because it looks the same as the old ones. How do these construction methods matter to you? The core PRS Hollowbody does something magical, not magical like it has magical tone. It has great tone. What is magical about it, and what I keep telling people because people don't believe me until they try it, is that even though the body of the guitar is completely hollow, unlike a ESP35 which is semi-hollow, so technically it should be worse than an ESP35 in this respect. Even though it is completely hollow, it has 0 feedback. You can go into a room of loud amplifiers, a lot of interference, and it'll make no sound. Try doing that with the ESP35 and you will see what I mean. ESP35 is a guitar I don't have in my collection because it has a lot of charm and nostalgia, but it's a large guitar that's difficult to play and it's noisy. So maybe it was amazing in 1967, but it's not amazing for me. But I do have 3 PRS hollow bodies because I like that semi-hollow, hollow sound. And that's where the lack of resonance and the ease of playing, because it's as easy to play as this because it has the same similar kind of neck, not as a DGT but a general PRS guitar. Yeah, that's the whole point. So this update for the SE Hollowbody 2 means that it has become closer in spec. It's become closer in spec to core, as simple as that. Because what the core has is that it does have a center section just below where the pickups are, where the pickups and the bridge are mounted in solid mahogany. in the Hollowbody 2, this is having something similar. So that's what it is. Basically, it'll just going to become a better tool. It will not look any different, but it just becomes a better tool. Okay, so those are the new models. Let's look at the range in general. What do we have here? So we have a lot of stuff that I have covered in my previous video. You can check it out here. But essentially, what do you get? So you basically start off the SE range by thinking of the most standard PRS, the archetypical PRS guitar. That's the custom 24. So you have the custom 24. You have left-handed. You have it with the Floyd Rose. You have it with a more fancy top SE custom 24 quilt. You have it with fancier switching, not fancier, but different, more versatile switching 2408, where basically you can split each coil individually by themselves, whereas over here it's just a preset. In the normal custom 24, it's a preset 5-way switch. And then you have the custom 24.0 quilt, more fancy version 24.0, easy to understand. Then you get more variations. You get a semi-hollow piezo version. If I was to remember what I said about SE DGT, what I would recommend to an 18-year-old, I would tell them choose between the SE DGT. But if you are going to play acoustic stuff, get this custom 24 semi-hollow piezo, another guitar that will do everything, and at a very good price and at very high quality. Then you have 2408 Poplar Burl Limited, so this is just cosmetic limited edition. Then 24 Burl Ash, another cosmetic limited edition. Ash looks cool. Then you have McCarty. What is the McCarty? McCarty is PRS's Les Paul. You can get it as a PRS shape or as a Les Paul shape. 594 single cut, and then you have a Laurel Burl limited edition in case you want something different looking. Then you have CE. What is CE? CE means it is a bolt-on neck instead of a set construction like this. Bolt-on is cheaper. It's supposed to have a snappier sound. It does have a snappier sound. And you have the normal CE24 with the maple binding. Then you have probably the best value for money guitar that you can get, which is a CE24 Standard, which doesn't have the maple, just has plain mahogany. And now the new one, CE24 Standard Stoptail. Yeah. These guitars are just high quality guitars. If you are a involved guitar player, modern guitar player, and you are on a budget, can't go wrong with either of these two. I already mentioned this in the earlier part of the video. Then we have, these are the same guitars. Then we have the DGT Standard, which we just talked about, the hollow bodies that we just talked about, and then we get into the more specialty models. This is the Studio. The Studio, it's kind of like its name. It's supposed to provide a lot of versatile sound. So you have a humbucker and two mini humbuckers, or rather, they're not exactly mini humbuckers. These are PRS's narrow field humbuckers. They're okay. I mean, not just okay, they're great. I have an NF3, one of my favorite guitars. But this is a very specialist choice. If you know this is what you want, get it. It is an amazing guitar. If you are buying your first guitar or you're buying your first decent guitar, try it in a shop. If you like it, get it. If you don't try it, do not buy this online without trying it. That's all I'm saying. It's a great guitar, but it will not sound like exactly as you expect. It sounds like itself, which is a great thing. And then we have the three hollow bodies. How do we differentiate them? Standard is just basically mahogany body. Standard piezo adds a piezo functionality. Hollow body 2 piezo. 2 basically means it's the maple. So basically you've got this beautiful maple veneer on top. And then you have the speciality. Here is when we get into the NF3, which has 3 of those narrow field humbuckers. Again, a guitar that can do a lot of things. It's a very, very focused sound. It's a much more single coil like sound, yet it's still a humbucker. Again, do not get this as your first guitar without trying it. But if you like it, I cannot stop you. It'll be a very good guitar to get. So you have the NF3 and the NF3 Maple, which is just a fretboard difference. You have the NF53, which is got the same narrow field humbuckers, but it's a Telecaster. This is PRS's Telecaster. And this kind of tells you what the narrow fields sound like despite being humbuckers, right? The fact that they're putting these narrow field humbuckers on the Telecaster shows you how bright these humbuckers are. So just know that when you think of these guitars with the narrow field humbuckers. Then you have the Swamp Ash Special, which in a way is like the Herman Lee because it has the HSH, but it's more conventional HSH, regular passive humbuckers. This is, in theory, is the perfect blend of this, in theory, in specs, is the perfect blend of Gibson and Fender, right? Because you have HSH, so you have humbuckers, you have tremolo, you have single coils. It should do everything. It kind of does it, but you have to just be know that this is what you want. This will feel more like a traditional PRS versus the SE Studio Standard, where it has a Strat body. So do you see the difference between SE Studio, SE Standard, and Swamp Ash Special? They look so similar, but why would you buy one over the other? SE Studio Standard has a Strat body. It's the same body as a Silver Sky. And it has a narrow field humbuckers, which are very single coil like. And then you've got a proper humbucker bridge. So this is literally think of it as an SSH. SE Studio gives you the same SSH, but it gives you in a PRS body, a more modern body. Suppose you don't like the SSH, but you don't necessarily want a Strat style guitar, which is where the SE Studio comes in. Swamp Ash Special comes in where you want that functionality, but you want an HSH. You love that humbucker, neck humbucker sound like I do. Like for me, I would totally go for this because I can't have a guitar without that beautiful neck humbucker sound, usually, if it's my only guitar. That's when I would go for something like the SE Swamp Ash Special. And then we have the, I keep that so many guitars. It's good that I'm making this video so you can understand it. Then you have the SE Special Semi-Hollow. Now, SE Swamp Ash Special, SE Special Semi-Hollow. Looks so similar. You've got humbucker, single coil. It's not single coil humbucker. You've got humbucker, narrow field, which is like a single coil humbucker. What's the difference? Difference is this is a set neck construction. It is not as bright a guitar as this one. This is Swamp Ash body, maple neck. It's super bright. This is mahogany neck and mahogany body. Of course, it has a maple veneer and semi-hollow. So it's a very rounded tone. I have a special semi-hollow core. I don't particularly like it. I'll admit it, and I'll tell you why. But what makes me not like it makes a lot of people like it a lot. It has a very rounded tone. It's so very... It doesn't have a sharp attack. You know, like some guitars, like you want to play metal, you need that sharp attack. It doesn't have that. It has a beautifully rounded tone, which is amazing. If I guess you want to play jazz, if you want to play like soft rock, say you're a singer-songwriter and you need to accompany yourself. You need a guitar that's present, yet it's not jarring. And again, let me be clear, because whenever I talk about different guitar tones, what I want to remind you is that you can get any tone from any guitar using EQ, pretty much. This is all about what the starting point of a guitar is and how easy it is for you to get a certain kind of sound. So that you can just plug and play, that will be the initial sound of the guitar. So this has got a very soft, rounded sound, because it's semi-hollow, it has humbuckers, and even though you can split them kind of, because it has all of these combinations to get single coils, even the single coil sounds in this are not particularly sharp. They are thinner sounds, but they're still very rounded sounds. So if you like the idea, if you're a singer-songwriter, or you play in a jazz band, or you play in something a little bit where you need sweet guitar sounds, perhaps, or just a little bit, say, alternative, right? Suppose you want to drown out the guitar in some sort of effects or something, but not that you want the guitar to stand up, but you may want to create certain vibe. You want to play vibey music. That's where this guitar is. I don't play vibey music, so it's not the guitar for me, but I can see a lot of people will love it. This is probably the PRS for Instagram, I would say. Then you have extended range. My God, this is going to be a long video, but hopefully this is helpful. Where you have the SE277, which is the baritone. You have the 7-string Holcomb, which is a 7-string version of the PRS Custom 24, but it is specific to Holcomb. It's got Holcomb's humbuckers. It's got hip short bridge. Then you have lefty versions of all of the normal guitars. But here you have a couple of guitars that you haven't talked yet. SE Silver Sky. Nothing that I need to tell you about it. It's the Strat. Zach Meyer's lefty. It's a Les Paul semi-hollow version for PRS. And then you have all the signatures. DGT we talked. Santana is basically a specific, one of the oldest PRS guitars. It's basically a Les Paul Junior, if you think about it in terms of the shape. It's like the opposite, the cut side of the Les Paul, mirrored on the other side, and it's got small scale length, 24.5 inch scale length. It's got a tremolo, and it's got 24 frets. So it's a very unusual Santana combination. You have 24 frets, you have a tremolo, yet you have a Les Paul Junior, essentially a mirrored Les Paul Junior. It makes some interesting sounds. Mark Holcomb is a custom 24 made for metal, which means it has a compound radius neck, it has hardtail, like a hip short style hardtail, it has Mark Holcomb's humbuckers, and it's got a thin neck. It's basically just made for metal. It's not bad. 7-string is a 7-string version. Tremonti is basically Tremonti's version of a Les Paul, which is basically Les Paul with a tremolo, but it has a lot of Les Paul characteristics, that it's very big and heavy, and it has kind of a semi Les Paul like switching system. PRS guitars needs to verify that I'm human. I just wanted to show you the switching system. It's kind of like a Les Paul, but not exactly. It is a little bit not mirrored, but kind of, it is swayed in a certain different direction. I'm trying not to cover any guitar in too much detail because this will otherwise be a 2-hour video. Paul's guitar is basically like a custom 22, or a McCarthy rather, with a thick body, with that wonderful bridge that I was telling you about when we talked about the custom 24 Stoptail. Zach Myers we talked about right now. It's a Les Paul with a Stoptail, 24.5 inch scale length, but with a semi-hollow. SE Chleo we talked about. Silver Sky we talked about. You can get it with a rosewood or a maple fretboard. And then the SE DGT Laurel Burl limited edition. And all these limited editions we've talked about are essentially cosmetic. And folks, I will end the video here. The rain is just about stopping, so it's a nice morning to get out. And I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time.